Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, August 15th, and we're on the European account. We need to play 2 more cards that cost 8 or more, and then we can move over to the Asian account. It's taking me forever to get through the news because I don't think I'd ever use the phrase fake news, but there's a lot of biased news and unactionable and unimportant, in my opinion, news that are stories written from nothing happened, and they're getting me on rants, and they're getting in the way of just talking about what games came out, what people thought of those games, you know, the basic things that most people want to know, or I would like to talk about, and just taking a break and thinking about it for the past 2 hours that I've covered. It's really crazy. Also, I've totally forgotten to ask people to subscribe, so if you are here, please subscribe and click the notification bell too. Need subscribers desperately, as many as possible. Rock Paper Shotgun has an article, Gather Your Party Like It's 1985, the Bard's Tale Trilogy's first remaster is out now.
Job's done.
I don't know what you can really say about it, though. It is just like a remaster of an incredibly old game.
Time waits for no one.
Let's see. Let's play here. It's rated 97% positive for 43 users. I guess I'll put it on my wish list because it has historical importance. It has 20 Steam achievements. It's $14.99. And it seems like you're only getting the first game right now. That's what it seems like they're saying. It says the Bard's Tale Trilogy's first remaster is out now.
I wonder.
So, the price includes the entire trilogy, but the second and third games won't be done until autumn or winter. And so you're basically buying the game in early access, and it's not telling you that on Steam. So this is sort of a bait and switch in the way they're offering it. I really doubt I'd ever do anything more than a quick spotlight on the Bard's Tale. Even being remastered, it still looks like an incredibly old looking game, and there's problems with trying to cover such an old looking game. Alright, Death Garden, I think we already talked about. It's the game where you run around, and it's from the creators of Dead by Daylight, and it basically looks like it is just a new skin on Dead by Daylight. 4 runners and 1 strong hunter running around a forest, doing some very basic asynchronous gameplay stuff. To me, it feels like it's a last gasp from this developer, Behavioral Digital, before they just close the company completely. If I was to guess, that's what's going to happen next. Death Garden, to be fair, is 76 positive with 30 user reviews in the past 30 days. That's not a lot of reviewers, that's not a lot of players. The graphics don't look amazingly good, they look alright. The gameplay doesn't sound amazingly interesting or fun. It's like, I think even compared to Death by Daylight, this game is going to not succeed as well because there's not going to be as many streamers willing to play this kind of game now. Everybody has just kind of moved over to Fortnite. We have GHB on the chat. Why do you play in Wild? Right now, why I'm playing in Wild is because I'm just playing a bad deck that is trying to just get the daily quest done. I've redone all my decks using HS Replay, so when I play in Standard, I want my focus to be 99.9%. You're gonna win, you're gonna move up the ranked ladder. If I'm just gonna focus on playing cards, in this case I'm trying to play cards that cost 8 or more, if I'm just gonna focus on that scenario, then what I'm gonna do is play in Wild instead and let Wild win a ranked win for me if it can, but if it can't, it's not a big deal. I don't want to accrue any losses on Standard gameplay just because I'm goofing around or not paying attention. So that's why I have a handful of wild cards across my wild decks across my 3 accounts that I play every now and then, at least. And those wild decks will grow as we find more daily quests that requiring specific things. Let's see, if I play this, I think we're cool. Let's do this, this, and this. Attack there. Next game we have on Steam is called Mono Wars Red Zone. Looks like it's not animated very well, and it's a lot of solid red or solid green, so it's hard to even see what's on screen. It has some very basic looking life bar asset flip style elements. The video, which is supposed to be at the beginning of everything, is way at the end. Yeah, this seems like it's like a top-down strategy game of sorts. Red team versus green team. Looks like a crawling row of insects or ants. Okay, if I play this and then do this. Let's see. Mono Wars Red Zone is 10% off for $7.19, and it just doesn't look that good. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a game called Mono Wars Blue Zone that they're going to release. They haven't yet. That's also, or Green Zone, and it'll probably be called Green Zone. And they're going to try and sell the exact same game multiple times. Yeah, Mono Wars not worth getting. PC Gamer has an article. What Blizzard should do with Diablo next? Make a straight sequel or evolve the series? I think it would be insane to make a straight sequel. They need to evolve the series, but call it Diablo 4 still, kind of obviously. And by that, I mean some basic things that were introduced even in Torchwood and other games like that, where you don't have to return to the village to sell your items, for example, or break the items down into some kind of dust or currency of something. I think what you probably need to do is introduce more bosses, more gameplay mechanics, more large ticket things to do. I wouldn't mind if there was a side game, a side Diablo game that was kind of a platformer, 3D platformer, adventure, Metroidvania style game. You could certainly do something like that, but that couldn't be the main game. I think the main game still has to be sort of a top-down, clicking on the mouse a lot to attack, right-click, using the keyboard. You could try and get better controller integrations, but you still need to have spells, mana, abilities, items, scrolls of things, gems. All those things kind of need to play some role, or at least for nostalgia's sake, kind of exist at some point.
For the wild.
You probably need to introduce a new demon, a new Diablo type character, and I don't think you could. I don't think you can say, well, the Diablo you've been fighting for the past 3 games are actually not Diablo, so you need to introduce the concept of them, all the bosses from previous game getting resurrected into new, more terrifying forms. Probably what you do is you move the universe of Diablo ahead several hundred years, and because of that, what you do is, because it's several hundred years in the future, you're still fighting demons, you still have bows and arrows and stuff, but the demons could have gotten stronger, the items could have gotten stronger. I'm not saying add lasers or guns. Maybe you just tease gunpowder. Like a couple hundred years in the future in the Diablo universe, gunpowder was just invented. But I bet you don't even do that, because you probably just have magic shoot projectiles in different directions. PC Gamer has a category here for Diablo Infinite, the loot shooter. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna just make a Borderlands style game where you're fighting demons instead of psychos, you've got a Diablo Infinite, I guess is what they want to call it, but I mean, you could call it basically anything. Other elementals. Yeah, that makes sense, and it probably fills a gap in Activision Blizzard's world, because you can have your loot-based shooter set in the Diablo universe, and you can have your team-based shooter game as Overwatch, and frankly you could probably make a loot-based shooter for Overwatch too, and just have them set in different universes and you'd be fine. The dark Diablo things. A Diablo that was more like the Doom reboot, just a straight single-player story makes sense. They're recommending Diablo Royale, like a battle royale game. No, I don't think there's anything there. They're recommending a Diablo 2 remake. Have they already remade Diablo 1? Like, I think a full-on reboot or remakes is fine, but a full-on reboot would have worked too. You know, whittling down the story of Diablo 1, 2, and 3 into one game with a modern engine and a modern perspective would have been fine, would be fine too. But the remake makes sense because there's a lot of nostalgia there. Diablo card game. I mean, they've already got a World of Warcraft card game called Hearthstone that I'm playing, so why not a Diablo-esque card game? I think really going with a single-player story, though, is their best bet. Just a traditional thing. A Telltale style game in the Diablo universe would be fine, too. Frankly, anything they try, if it comes out good, I'm perfectly happy with. We're moving over to the Asian account now. Like, as long as they're just trying something and doing something, I'm kind of happy. GHB says, I don't understand why you put in Cthulhu. That deck was specifically designed to play minions that cost 8 mana or more. Cthulhu cost 8 mana or more. That's the only reason it was in there. That entire deck made no sense at all otherwise. Let's see, I don't want to try and have to win 2 victories, so I'm going to roll this. And Battlecry and Death Rattles cards. Alright. Who do I want to play first of all, I want to come over here at this Mechathin deck and see if I actually have Mechathin. No, I don't. So I want to get rid of this Mechathin deck too, as I did on the European account. I'll replace that with some HS Replay deck later. Do I want to play Zoo Warlock? Or Tempo Rogue or Control Priest or Odd Paladin? I don't know what the one of these would be the best. I'm gonna take Odd Paladin and just copy that and come over and start this Talon Draw. Take that. There's a chance that there's some Battlecry cards in Odd Paladin. Otherwise, I might have to just decide to... Yeah, there's some Battlecry cards in here. So then I'll just have to make like a Death Rattle deck later to get that quest done. We have a game on Steam called Ground Branch. It looks like a early access first-person shooter, Counter-Strike Go type clone. It looks pretty good, but you know, even the asset flips look good, so you really can't take anything from that. And I'm seeing pictures of guns, I'm seeing pictures of environments, I'm seeing pictures of people. It's from a company called Blackfoot Studio that hasn't made anything else. It's $19.99. It's mostly positive, 73% of 60 user reviews, which that's really not enough. They say it's from one of the original... Wait a minute, in the video, let me go back and read that again. That might be grounds to keep an eye on this. From the original Rainbow Six and Ghost developers. Okay. And Ghost Recon developers. This is a single player with online multiplayer. I think it's almost all online multiplayer. I'm going to put this game, Ground Branch, on my wishlist and keep an eye on it because it does seem like it has some pedigree and it is rated a little bit higher than you would expect if it was just an asset flip. So there's some reason there to keep on looking at it. Let's see. I'm gonna play this.
Job's
Then end
done.
the turn.
Nice to meet you.
Next game we have on Steam is called Combat Rush. It's a top-down... Ooh, it's almost like a Snake game where soldiers walk wherever you walk, like Snake, and they fire in the general direction of the enemy that you're targeting. So, it's kind of a funny thing. I've seen a similar game to this on Android, but it wasn't military people fighting monsters and working through a level. It was just people fighting monsters and walking around in a square area. Here you're shooting at tanks and such. How much is this? 10 achievements, 10% off for $1.79. Let's see. 12 types of modern combat mercenaries with personal weapons, sniper, shooter, machine guns. Let's see. I'm gonna keep an eye on this game because it's kind of an original idea. But I probably will never actually get around to buying it because I probably will never get enough reviews. Combat Rush is the first game from this developer. If you're looking for an underdog story, a game that that people probably won't ever see or hear about, I think Combat Rush might be one of them.
For justice.
Let's see.
Move quickly.
Next game we have on Steam is called University, with that's UNIVR, capital CITY is one word. It's an isometric university management sim, kind of like SimCity 1 in its level of graphics. It doesn't seem like it's polished enough or complicated enough that I think people would want to play it. It's early access for 15% off at $8.49. So yeah, I am going to ignore university. The thing that kills it, just on the word go, is the fact that I'm looking at its thumbnail picture, its main little picture, and it's like MS Paint level of graphics written as the title. Yeah, so you could have gotten basically any font you wanted, and instead it looks like you just went into Paint and drew the letters with a mouse. That could be a font, but it's a really bad font if it is. Moving on, Gamatsu has a article. Puzzle platformer Hacky Zack for Switch launches August 23rd. Let's see, Hacky Zack will be at the eShop. Apparently it's for everybody. Here's a little trailer. Let's see if we can watch it. I wonder what happens if you trigger the trap where you summon a new enemy and it takes damage. What happens when you play a magnetic card? Does it not trigger that trap? Hacky Zack looks like it's a cheap platformer game and kind of nothing else. It's like a Super Meat Boy attempt at a clone, which I've seen a lot of that. Maybe there's a actual Hacky Sack ball or something that you're having to bounce around. Yeah, it seems like you are. And some of the areas might break when they're hit by that ball. But yeah, not enough polish here to make that look like an interesting game. Next game we have on Steam is called Blockheads: Insta-Kill, and it's a first-person shooter asset flip of like Roblox characters, low polygon characters running around, shooting each other. It's $4.99 with no discount whatsoever.
Reporting for duty. Reporting for duty. Reporting for duty. The battle.
There we go.
For justice.
And do that. See, next turn if I could play this and this, that'd be great. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that even needs to be said about Blockheads Insta-Kill. It's not even from a developer who has a game called Blockheads something else. So I thought maybe it was a spin-off of something already that existed. Moving on, we have a game called Tanglewood. It says it's an indie action-adventure game. It says it came out August 14th, 2018. Let's see. Let's do this.
Reporting for duty.
And then do this.
To battle.
And
to battle.
Do this.
Checkmate. Well done.
Alright. Tanglewood is a brand new and original puzzle platforming game originally released for the Sega Mega Drive and Genesis, coming soon to Windows, Mac, and Linux. A true 16-bit challenging platform experience that will make fans of the golden gaming era feel warm and fuzzy. So, and the developer of this is called Big Evil Corporation, by the way, which is not what you should name your corporation. So Tanglewood looks like it's a widescreen version or a stretched version of the game, although half of the screenshots also show black bars, so I am not certain what's going on there. I'm not 100% sure. I believe Tanglewood really is a Sega Master System game. I certainly haven't heard of it. Seems like the whole game does have black bars on it, but the thumbnails do are widescreen, which I suppose is slightly deceptive. Single player, full controller support, English only, 17 Steam achievements. Tanglewood is selling for $17.99. Let's see. Mega Drive ROM file included. All digital versions include the Mega Drive ROM file. Purchase the PC, Mac, and Linux game and receive the ROM file to play on your genuine Sega console, your favorite emulator or home arcade system using a flash cartridge such as EverDrive. So that's an interesting way to promote your product. And then there's a link here for purchasing the cartridge version. See, so this is like a new Sega game. It says it's programmed on a pure 68,000 assembly language using original development tools and processes from the 1990s, which, like, who cares about that? Following its successful Kickstarter campaign in 2016, Tanglewood came out. It has come out. The thing that I think you take from this is
I must move quickly.
This is probably going to be an overhyped game and talked about. So I wouldn't be surprised if pretty soon you hear about Tanglewood from the mainstream gaming media for no real reason. There's a not recommended review that says everything about this was a joke. Demo still is not up, and I don't care if it was Valve or Steam's fault or not. Somebody still screwed up. Game will not launch in full screen without really tinkering with your computer. $17.99 for a 4 to 6 hour game. Better off just get 2 or 3 really good games.
Get down!
Then there's a lot of recommended things. Here's a not recommended 2 words delayed controls, and yes, it's a run and jump platformer. So input lag is the other not recommended, but there is quite a lot of regular recommended. I've just for historical reasons got to keep an eye on this and see what happens with the Tanglewood if people do start talking about it and start playing it. I bet not too many people actually start playing it though, because it's selling itself on a nostalgia sell for a game that never existed before. Tanglewood also, you're playing as this like fox-like creature, so take that for whatever it is. And the developer Big Evil Corporation has no other games they've ever released. Not really surprising since it's a Kickstarter game. So yeah, there's no real certainty on how good the game really is going to be.
Reporting for duty. The battle!
I fight.
Next game we have on Steam is called Platball. Looks like MS Paint graphics. They say it's a casual puzzle platformer. Well, the thumbnail looks like MS Paint graphics. The actual game looks like it's a slightly more competent Unity project. I'm not sure I'd call it a full game so much. It's a ball that is platforming on different platforms. Some of the platforms have spikes, some of the platforms have different colors. They indicate that, I guess, that they have switches on the platforms. The ball can at certain times get colored in different colors. and maybe it's using those colors to color in some shadowy versions of platforms so that you can land on them. Let's see.
Protocol 7. To battle.
Let's go and attack here.
I fight. I fight.
Do that and do that. And then your turn. Plat Ball doesn't look terrible if it was just a student project or something, and it's 10% off for $1.79. There's a free student project that the high school put out, and I think in comparison to looking at that student project though, Plat Ball doesn't look very interesting at all. Let's see. Do this.
Reporting for duty.
And go ahead and just play this. And then I need to look at my chat because I am just now looking at my chats. We have somebody that says pandas taste good. Hello there. Somebody named DB Gaming saying hashtag panda raid. And then we have Ben Diaz saying hashtag panda raid baby. And we have Terry saying hey peeps. And then your mom gay says help your channel will be spammed. We have Dosco Jr. say low you don't talk but let me hear your voice. Panda Tastes Good says hope you're having an awesome evening, man. So I guess this Panda Tastes Good has orchestrated a raid on my stream, which that's rather interesting. I guess you now hold the prestige of being the first person to ever raid one of my chat streams. I can never take that away from you. And I love the idea of people raiding my stream as long as they're not doing something hugely offensive in it. Let's see. R-Top says spreading love through subs. Your mom gay says shut it. You're spamming people. Dosco Jr. says hi spam. Dosco Jr. says LMAO. And Dosco Jr. says kill that mage. Dosco Jr. says you got it. Dosco Jr. says easy. Dosco Jr. says check your chat. Dosco Jr. says check your chat, brother. Yeah, I saw it. It's just Panda Tastes Good. Let's circle back. Dosco Jr. says yep. I don't know how much of this though converts to people or YouTube promoting my channel when it's just a handful of people, 4 or 5, even 10 or 12. I think until you hit the level of getting like 50 or 60 people on the chat, that's when it starts to really pop here. I'm looking at my emails and I'm seeing 3 people subscribe to my channel. Panda Tastes Good, DB Gaming, and Ben Diaz have all subscribed. See, and I don't know how much of this just is gonna get flagged by YouTube, and they're gonna just silently unsubscribe everybody who subscribed right then. So if people really do want to raid and support people, I think you have to go back and check and see if you're still subscribed to my channel, whatever channel you subscribe to, a week later or a month later, and see if it actually happens. Of course, I love subscribers. I need subscribers. If I could get up to 1,000 subscribers, I could get back to being monetized. I could stop with the stupid e-begging of asking people to friend me on Steam and gift me games, and I could just say, look, I'll take the pennies that I was getting on the ad revenue before and be happy with that. Hey, I'm winning here. The HS replay decks are actually working. It looks like the raid has kind of calmed down on the chat, so I'll move on to the video game news. Next game we have on Steam is called Paper Planets. Let's see. What is this? This is a flying around asteroid style game. They say it's an action adventure indie casual simulation game. So maybe it's like a 4X style game with MS Paint graphics. But yeah, it's still MS Paint graphics. So I'm not interested. Paper Planets is 99 cents with no discount. I want to hold on to this one, so I'm going to get rid of this one. So that's another sort of low effort game. Next game we have on Steam is called Amulet Zero Optimized. I think this is a Chinese only RPG Maker puzzle game. Let's see, what language is it? Yes, simplified Chinese only. So no real reason to criticize or look at this game. It's 20% off for 79 cents. It looks, actually, to be fair, it looks like it's animated a little bit better than most RPG Maker games, and better than most cheap Chinese games, because there definitely is a distinction that happens between well, geez, if I could win that easily every time. Like, there definitely is a distinction between cheap Chinese games and Chinese games that people are really trying to put some effort into it. PC Gamer has an article. NVIDIA releases a hotfix GPU driver to correct stuttering and stability issues, stomping out bugs. Apparently it was related to issues when running LA Noire VR. One of them is a stability issue when running LA Noire VR. I didn't see this hotfix come out, so either I just installed my driver at the right time, or I didn't need it for my video card. NVIDIA has now, there's been some leaks that the next series of graphics cards are going to be the next one will be a 28 RTX video card. So they're getting rid of the GTX brand and changing it to RTX. And they are skipping from going from a 1080, which was previously, I believe, like a 780. Were there any 880s or 980s? No, yeah, there was I have a 970, so there must have been a 980 GTX. But they're skipping from the 900 series they went to the 1000 series, and now they're skipping straight to the 2000 series, is the rumor. Which, okay. I mean, it seems a little dishonest, frankly, the way you're doing that, and just kind of naming things in awkward, confusing ways. And in general, from what I generally saw about the rumors of the 2080 is that those graphic cards are going to have basically all new architecture, and so hopefully they're going to be really, really good. Here we have a game on Steam called Reventa, R-E-V-E-N-T-A. It says Reventa is a challenging third-person sci-fi melee action game. Let's see, early access action indie game. So what I'm seeing is running around really fast, swinging swords, being able to see through your body to see the enemies. Although the enemies seem to mostly not have any texture on them, which I find slightly concerning. I see you moving really, really fast and attacking things with a samurai sword and just flash stepping and disappearing with the attack ability. So if there's a game and a story behind this early access game, the graphics look good enough, but they could definitely use a bit more polish. This feels a lot like a heavily Bayonetta inspired style game. and I do love Bayonetta, except for it's in a sci-fi melee action sci-fi world instead of a fantasy world. Its reventa right now is $3.99, so it may not be as much as we would want. At least it's not We Happy Few $59.99, which they have a season pass for We Happy Few, which that's kind of crazy too.
Reality breach.
Let's do this. While we're at it. The reason why I'm mentioning We Happy Few is it's being recommended down here by Steam. Let's link. I want to find a mod for We Happy Few. I hope somebody makes it that just takes out all the gameplay mechanics and just turns it into a single player walk from point A to point B and get the good important storyline, and that's it. But that's probably easier. It's probably easier just to, you know, make a YouTube video series of all the cutscenes in We Happy Few. Okay, what do we want to do?
I fight.
We hit this.
For justice.
We hit this. We hit this. And we hit this.
Reporting for duty.
So yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on Reventa. REVNTA. It's probably from a new developer, yes. It feels like it's probably gonna be a small game. But it might be fun too. It might be a fun 2.5 hour experience doing really polished and smooth action. Excuse me. I'm getting that tingle in the back of my throat that tells me I've been streaming for too long. I still have a ton of news, so let's see if I can rush through this. Do this.
Reporting for duty.
Do this.
Reporting for duty.
And
You cannot run.
this.
For justice.
That.
I fight.
Kill that one. And that one. And then return. Gametsu has an article. Gunhouse PS4 and PS Vita limited run physical edition has been announced. Gunhouse is what kind of game? Gunhouse is part puzzle, part active tower defense as you make big combos to launch a hail of bullets and special attacks at the alien invaders. It's going to be basically a Sony exclusive. It's coming out August 24th, seemingly worldwide, but it may be just in Japan because you always have to be wary of that from Gametsu since they're a Japan-centric after your attacks.
Wild.
For justice.
Well played.
Reporting for duty.
I appreciate your efforts.
Let's see, here's the PC Gamer article. Everything we know about the GeForce RTX 2080, NVIDIA's next graphics card. I desperately need to buy a new graphics card. So at some point I'm going to have to stop buying Lego and other things and save up $500 to $700.
I appreciate your efforts.
The subtitle on this is we now have clear details on the name, features, and launch date for NVIDIA's Turing architecture. It's named after Alan Turing, I assume. It'll launch, or at least be officially released on August 20th, but there's still a lot of questions.
I appreciate your efforts.
Let's go ahead and squelch that guy.
Let's see.
Let's see. The latest architecture was Pascal, and it powered everything from the GTX 1080 to the GTX 1080 Ti to the GTX 1050 and GT 1030. Let's ray tracing will be added or improved upon in the new video cards, which will help with lighting situations. Certainly. Let's see. Let's see. I'm just trying to scroll through a lot of technical stuff here. DirectX Ray Tracing API will be in it. It'll be on a 12 nanometer FinFET process. FinFET, I would have to look that up to know what FinFET stands for. It's F-I-N capital F-E-T.
I greet you.
Samsung apparently will have some hand in the development of the graphics cards. So they're moving to a 12 nanometer process from the 16 nanometer process, which means generally just more circuitry and lower power usage and better cooling, just more efficiency in general when things get smaller. Of course, the processes have kind of been a lie too for NVIDIA for a while. Let's see. It can have up to 4,608 CUDA cores, which is an increase of 20% over, or 29% over the GTX 1080 Ti. So, I imagine the video card will be somewhere between slightly better than the GTX 1080 Ti and 30 to up to 50% better. But also, it should have some lasting power. And this PC Gamer article is too complicated though. It's too detailed on technical details. It says it will use GDR6 memory, so very fast RAM. Up somewhere between 24 gigabytes and 48 gigabytes at max. That seems a little too high on the RAM. I was thinking he's closer to 16 gigabytes if I was to just pick a number. Let's see. How much will it cost? They're saying maybe it will be $1,000 graphics card. I don't think so. They're saying the RTX 2080 will come out August 30th, or be announced on August 30th. The 2070 will be September 27th, and the 2060 will be October 25th. And maybe I should go from a 970, which is a defective video card, to it was designed kind of fraudulently. Maybe I should just step down to a 2060 and go for the cheaper one.
I must move quickly.
Let's see. No, PC Gamer is saying expect the initial prices to be between $450 and $500. So yeah, a lot of speculation here. It seems like they have some real details, but it will just be a few months of wait to decide whether or not those cards are good and worth buying. And apparently that raid came and went, so here's the real question about raids. Like, yeah, a bunch of people get in your chat and talk, but are they staying long enough for it even to be a blip in the watch time? Or are they just having their fun and going? And fine if they're just having their fun and going, but I don't think the raids, particularly on YouTube, succeed at actually promoting videos. We'll see. I may come back on Friday and go, hey, that raid did really well, and I got tons more views and such, and I would love for more people to raid me. And in general, I guess I would love people to raid me more regardless, but I wouldn't also be surprised if nothing comes about from it, because I just don't think the YouTube algorithm works that way. But I really don't know how the YouTube algorithm works. Okay, moving on. Let's see. I have a Twitter thing from official Deep Silver because they tweeted something else. Yes, 16 hours ago, official Deep Silver, a developer, tweeted out, "It's with great pleasure that we announce the acquisition of the cherished video game series Time Splitters and Second Sight. Full details will be revealed in due course." Which is funny, because Deep Silver is claiming that they own Time Splitters, and I guess maybe Deep Silver's is owned by THQ Nordic, because THQ Nordic is also claiming that they got the acquisition of the Time Splitters. So I don't know if this maybe was some weird conversion where Deep Silver got the license to it and then licensed it to THQ Nordic, so I need to do some more research. Meanwhile, Ben Brode, former person in charge of Hearthstone, now person in charge of Second Dinner, has tweeted out 9 hours ago on the Second Dinner Twitter, Second Dinner being the name of his company, that our team is growing. Say hi to our new teammates. And then they tweet 3 people who worked at Blizzard. So the previous senior concept artist at Blizzard now works for Second Dinner. The previous Hearthstone production director now works for Second Dinner. And the previous incubation, Hearthstone, World of Warcraft, Web, and Ghost at Blizzard. I don't know. He was an engineer, I guess. So Ben Brode took some people with him. They took a little bit of time, and then that makes it certainly feel like more of a less than friendly departure that took place when he left, as he's taking people with him. But it could just be that more and more people are bored with working on Hearthstone. Your Gamer has an article, Diablo 3 for Switch rears its head again in the new leak, and it's apparently due later this year. So I've seen a lot of people, a lot of the mainstream game media say that the Blizzard putting out a Diablo nightlight with a Switch on it picture was an indication that it was coming out for the Switch, and then they came out and said no, it isn't coming out for the Switch, probably because Nintendo was mad at them for leaking information. I probably shouldn't have attacked that one. I probably should have killed this one first and then killed this one. we kind of all assume that some kind of Diablo game is coming out for the Switch. I wouldn't be 100% certain it's Diablo 3 though. Could be a Diablo 1 on the Switch for all we know. But the mainstream gaming media keeps pushing back saying, yes, this is happening, and Blizzard keeps saying, no, it's not happening, or we have nothing to announce at this time. So somebody is probably internally leaking something that makes them feel that confident to contradict what Blizzard is saying. But that is not to say that companies don't lie. They totally do all the time about releases. PC Gamer also had an article about Hi-Rez splitting into 3 new studios. Although I don't know if it was as much a split as it was they created 3 new studios and kept the main studio. So it's more like it spawned off 3 studios from what I understand. Yeah, it says Hi-Rez has announced it's establishing 3 new separate developers. So I didn't see anything here that says Hi-Rez itself is going away, and that's a big difference. Yeah, we'll keep everything except for that. We have a PC Gamer article. Steam users are being hunted by Monster Hunter World notifications. The PC port of Monster Hunter World has a few quirks. Luckily, many of them have already been patched out, and Capcom says it's working to clean up the rest. That's good. The modder fixed Nier Automata's PC port is also on the case, but one of the game's strangest habits still remains. Steam won't stop telling players their friends are playing Monster Hunter. Well, wait a minute. Isn't that just maybe a factor of the new Steam update on chat and everything? There was no reason to use the coin and play that. No reason whatsoever. While you're playing Monster Hunter World, Steam constantly sends out notifications to your friends which are usually reserved for when you start playing a game, or talking once a minute, if not more frequently. Players who speculated that this is due to checks run by the game's multiplayer, and that some wires got crossed in Steam, causing it to repeatedly confirm that you're playing. Interesting. So yeah, that certainly could be annoying. Right? But in all honesty, I would say you probably want to turn off those notifications anyways, depending on how many friends you have on Steam. And then in all honesty, how many people have that many friends on Steam at all? Like, I ask people to friend me on Steam all the time, even if they don't want to donate like a game or gift card to me. I still would like people to friend me. But I certainly would kind of get why people might not want to.
Access denied.
Repent. I fight.
Let's move on. PC Gamer has a different article. Steam may be getting tools that will enable Windows games to run in Linux. References to compatibility tools were recently data mined from the Steam interface and shared on Reddit.
For duty.
Let's see.
Repent. I fight.
I don't know how much compatibility tools you really can do though. Like, if it is a real Windows thing and it's not running either in a virtual machine in Linux or in some other way, like, I don't know what else you do.
I fight.
Or can do. Let's see. Let's do this.
Reality
That lets me do this. And then this. And this.
Reporting justice.
That. There we go. Let's see. The Linux-based Steam OS was announced in 2013 and it didn't really go anywhere. The Wine emulator is really the only thing that lets you sort of run some games in Linux. So it's probably something they're still working on, but I wouldn't be surprised if they've really not made any progress. Because Wine has been working on that for a long time. You're much better off dual booting a Mac OS yeah, if you're dual booting a Mac OS product into Windows, modern one at least, you're gonna have a better experience of running a Linux because Mac OS is based off of BSD and it's close to Linux. I guess it's not really Linux. I think, yeah, I may be slightly wrong about that. But yeah, you know, a lot of these old games would just never ever run right, and a lot of modern games too will just never ever run right on Linux. It was just gonna be too much work even if you tried. But I'm glad somebody's still trying to get it to work. Okay. So here's Gamma Sutra's article, Future Perfect. THQ Nordic has acquired the right to Time Splitters. THQ Nordic has picked up the rights to Time Splitters franchise through its subsidiary Koch Media, which I guess maybe Koch Media owns Deep Silver. Let's see. Time Splitters was originally created by Free Radical, which turned out a trilogy of titles between 2000 and 2005. The fourth installment was rumored in the old days. THQ's publishing label, Deep Silver, will produce new entries in the series, having previously worked on the Dead Island and Saints Row franchise. So, the creators of, like, the bad Dead Island games and Saints Row now are going to be working on Time Splitters for whatever that means, whether that's a good thing or not.
Reporting for duty.
This is a THQ also has secured the rights to the sci-fi action title Second Sight, which is another one of Free Radical's creations. Another example, in my opinion, of just THQ growing too fast and too big. I think this is going to become a house of cards that falls apart. Really. Like, I just don't see how this doesn't turn out to end in tears.
Reporting for duty. For justice.
Gotta attack. So we'll do
Reporting
that.
for duty.
And then end the turn. We have a game on Steam called The 8th Day. Looks like it's an early access horror game, walking around, asset flip, low effort horror game. It looks actually rather good, but the problem is all asset flips look like that. I bet there's nothing here that's actually worth playing. 11 achievements, so it's not an achievement game. It's 10% off for $1.79. And it says the publisher is Steam itself as the publisher. Interesting. How many people have done that? Apparently 2 people have labeled Steam as the publisher of your independent publisher.
But we
For justice. Reporting for duty. Reporting for duty.
There you go. So yeah, I have no interest in the 8th Day. It's named probably to confuse people who play the 7th Guest, since the fan-made 3rd game in that series, the 13th Doll, is coming out in Halloween, around Halloween this year. Hey, I got 3 wins. I'm actually surprised I even got that many. So what do we get for 3 wins? We were getting like 25 gold, 35 gold for no wins, and a pack. So we get 25 gold, no difference there. A pack, no difference there. So what, we're gonna get maybe 15, 20 dust? No, just 30 gold. So for as much of a large amount of time that took to do that was kind of crazy. Let's see. And we've got a couple rare cards, and we're on the Asian account, so golden cards are getting kept, which kind of sucks. So we can come over here and we can disenchant 3 of those, but 2 of those were new. So let's look at the new cards and mark them off. And before we do that, let's look at all new cards just so I can mark everything off. So apparently this one is new. This is new. Wow. No, it's not. Can't possibly be new. This is new. No, it's not. This is new. No, it's not. This is new. Probably not. And that is new. Apparently I got 2 of those somehow. Probably crafted them. So where are we on our quest now? We need to play Death Rattle cards and Battlecry cards. And what were we playing before? Were we playing Odd Paladin? Yeah, I think we were. So let's just continue to play Odd Paladin and focus on getting up and ranked. Yeah. Alright. Am I really at this point? Yes, I am. Okay, good. PC Gamer has an amazing story 16 hours ago. China freezes all game license approvals. Fortnite and PUBG affected. So, this is probably, if I was to guess, retaliation for tariffs that the United States put on it.
You asked for it.
I will fight with honor.
Maybe. That would be my guess. We know that China has not approved a South Korean game company since for over a year now, so that they definitely are, is at least speculated and assumed, punishing South Korea for working with the United States to install the THAAD missile defense system against North Korea. But the way this article goes, China has frozen all approvals of game licenses amid a government shakeup, which, from my outside perspective, it does seem like the Chinese government is trying to strengthen a permanent grasp of a power that they never want to give up whatsoever, which is kind of crazy considering it was a one-party country run by the Communist Party already, so they wanted even more power, apparently.
Converting stored energy.
Bloomberg is, so they're attributing this article to Bloomberg, reported that it has been 4 months since China's regulators approved any new games for sales in the market, according to people familiar with the matter. So, yeah, this is one of those instances of there was no official announcement, it just kind of happened. And that same is true with the South Korean example. There we go, we'll play that.
I fight.
Photonic works.
Repent.
There we go. According to people familiar with the matter, all sources declined to be named. The freeze has occurred due to the ongoing restructuring of departments within the Chinese government, including the National Television and Radio Administration, which is responsible for granting licenses, and the Ministry of Culture and Tourism, which has become increasingly stringent about game regulation in the last couple of years. Let's go and play this. This. And that means I can kill that, that,
Repent.
do that,
For
and
justice.
that, and then return. Currently, there's no clear leadership within these departments, and the bureaucrats are reluctant to take any risk allowing new products onto the market. This is especially the case with games, which, alongside the potential to include content the government considers dissident, have negative reputation for perceived addictive qualities. The recent loot box craze has caused additional scrutiny, with the government viewing this as a worryingly close to gambling. The freeze has caused chaos in the world's largest gaming mechanics, so my speculation here is not being confirmed at all by Bloomberg. They're saying it has nothing to do with the tariffs, or at least they don't think it has anything to do with the tariffs, which might be the case. Certainly, China's a big country. There could be all kinds of different reasons why these things are not getting approved. It could be multiple reasons. Let's see. Tencent is still waiting for approval for the desktop versions of PUBG and Fortnite. And see, Tencent is a Chinese company, and see, if they're not even getting approval, that's really crazy. Tencent was also forced to pull Monster Hunter World from sales on its distribution services on account of licensing issues. The story was last week that it was because the game was just buggy and there was a bunch of complaints. And see, this is one of those weird situations where the story keeps changing.
Let me think.
Let's see, how do we want to do this?
To battle!
This one, this one, this one, and I'll just end my turn there. Capcom's shares, let's see. Tencent distributes games to China for some of the world's biggest publishers, including Activision Blizzard and EA. The Japanese industry has suffered too, with Capcom shares dropping 2.7% and Konami falling to 4.2%. It's funny that Konami would fall any, considering that they're not really making games anymore. And see, Tencent, from my perspective, I always felt like it was basically under direct control of the Chinese government, and if they're not getting approved, that tells me there's been a complete breakdown, and they just don't want any games approved right now, or there's, like they're saying, there's just nobody to approve anything, which is crazy. Certainly crazy.
Repent.
For justice! To battle! Reporting for duty. Job done.
There we go. That is quite an amazing story, but it's also an indication that this has been going on for 4 months, and only now are they reporting on it. And that's kind of crazy. So something could be happening for 3 months, and it takes that long, and it takes somebody like Bloomberg to bring it up, instead of it clearly being something that could have been reported by Kotaku or Polygon or PC Gamer. Any major site should have been getting this information, and nobody got it, or nobody reported on it. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article. Pre-orders now available for Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise. I just wanted to, I guess, mention that. That is kind of just an advertisement thing. Man, I still need to play some Battlecry cards and some Death Rattle cards. Alright, we stick with Odd Paladin and we ride the victory. Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise is coming out on October 2nd. I don't No. It doesn't look like TechRaptor bothered to tell me what consoles, if any, it's coming out on. So that's interesting. Let's see.
Versus Jaina.
You asked for it.
Gamma Sutra has a different article. Tencent reports decrease in PC and mobile revenue despite raising its DAUs, which I guess I would need to know what a DAU is, wouldn't I? Let's see. There's an overall increase in revenue across the board despite a drop in PC and mobile game revenue, so they're making money from something else. More as a percentage than what they were before.
The light protects me.
I don't know if I really needed to do that.
Amazing.
The end is coming!
Well, can I do anything that would save this?
I fight.
Nope.
I fight.
Sounds like we may have gotten some new music. Background music. This song sounds new.
Let the pain speak to me.
Tencent goes on further in saying that users are playing non-monetized games and that's causing them to not make money, so basically people are not willing to buy microtransactions and thus Tencent's losing money. It's funny. Is the DAU something like daily access users? People who log into it seems like that's what they're saying DAU stands for. It'd been really useful if they had explained that phrase. Let's see. Do this.
Reporting
Do
for
this.
duty. Reporting for duty.
Do this.
For me!
Play. PC Gamer has an article, Monster Hunter World PC requirements, what you need for 60 frames per second. This is one I guess you could check out if you want to be certain you have a good enough thing. It's like a i5 4460 3.2 gigahertz processor, 8 gigabytes of RAM, and a GTX 760. And that's kind of the things that you would want to double check that you have at least that, which those requirements aren't great, or aren't very high. I think also there's a point to make that there's still some bugginess with Monster Hunter World, so you may meet the requirements and still not get a 60 frames per second experience.
Amazing.
Alright, Gematsu has an article, Diablo 3 Eternal Collection coming to the Switch in 2018 with the Legend of Zelda themed bonus content. It's a 4-player local multiplayer is also an option. Let's see, it's coming for $59.99. Diablo 3 Eternal, I imagine, is a like Game of the Year edition of Diablo 3. Like its PlayStation 4 and Xbox One counterparts, Diablo 3 Eternal Collection on the Switch will include the Reaper of Souls and Rise of the Necromancer expansions, plus all of the other content added to Diablo 3 post-launch. Exclusive stuff will be Legend of Ganondorf, Cosmetic Armor Set, Triforce picture frame, a chicken pet, and Echoes of the Mask cosmetic wings. Let's see.
Let me access denied. Converting stored energy.
And this. Turn. The Switch version of Diablo 3 will also have several ways to play with others, including 4 players on a single Switch, up to 4 players locally on 4 different Switch units, and online multiplayer. This also will be support for cloud saves, which means you also have to pay for the online pass. So yeah, Diablo came to Switch after them denying that it wasn't that it was coming to the Switch. Surprise, surprise.
For justice, the battle.
At least according to Gematsu. This may still turn out to be wrong. Eurogamer has an article. Layers of Fear developer unveils new teaser trailer for the next horror game project Melees. That's M-E with an accent, L-I-E with an accent pointing the other way, and an S. I want to watch this trailer. I just recently played Layers of Fear, and I was rather disappointed with it. I'm not happy with that game at all. So if I'm ever gonna trust the Layers of Fear developer, they need to blow me away with some kind of new gameplay. The thing I'm seeing in this trailer is, which has been heavily modified to look like a black and white old-fashioned film, is that it does seem like you're actually controlling your character walking forward and backward compared to the way you were kind of accessing things more. Well, I guess you were walking backwards and forwards in Layers of Fear too. It easily could have been a point-and-click interface where you just walk forward, click to walk forward once, and then click to look to the left, and then click to look to the right. It wasn't like that. No, I'm confusing it with another game I was playing right around that time. The Seventh Guest. But the walking in Layers of Fear was horrible. They gave the guy like a peg leg, and I had to increase the sensitivity quite a bit to play. And I think I was playing with the mouse, and you could have been playing with the cursor, but I don't know why you'd be playing Layers of Fear with the cursor. The thing too is Observer happened between Layers of Fear and this new game Project Melees. And Observer also is still kind of just more Layers of Fear. So it seems like they're kind of a one-trick pony. I'm very unlikely to play their new game. I'll see what other people have to say about it. Let's see, GameIndustry.biz has an article, The Darkness, or How I Learned to Leave the Sun and Love the Nordics. Third Eye Studios' Gregory Loudon finds inspiration in Starbreeze's first-person shooter that let players inhabit the protagonist for quiet moments as well as firefights. And this is the game The Darkness, and then there was a game called The Darkness 2 he's talking about. See, this almost is a story. It's kind of just an interview that's probably not worth reading. It's not gonna say anything great. The thing they've quote mined him and highlighted as, "You could watch To Kill a Mockingbird with Ginny snuggling together on the couch. It's quite a lovely moment that could last for hours, as you could literally watch the entire film." Yeah. But that's really not what The Darkness was about or what that game was. So I don't know what you take from that. The problem with The Darkness as a series is that there was no finishing of that story, and it ended on a big old cliffhanger. And it's kind of funny anybody is talking about it either. Gamer Sutra has an article. Nordisk Film Games invests $5.5 million in indie publisher Raw Fury. Let's see. Nordisk Films is an offshoot. Nordisk Film Games is an offshoot of Nordisk Film, which has made a number of moves in the game business lately, including the acquisition of Just Cause developer Avalanche Studios. A lot of acquisitions and firings and movings and quittings happening right about this time. Like, everybody's done with E3, so now they're done. As far as I can see in this article, there's no let's see. Raw Films made several games, none of which I recognize. One called Dandara, one called Goner, Gonner, one called The Last Night, and one called Sable, S-A-B-L-E. Like, Sable is probably the one that I would recognize more than anything else. Alright, so we need something with a death rattle. And I would say a rogue deck probably has some death rattle cards in it. So let's play the Tempo Rogue deck and see if that happens. Let's see. The Lib Retro team is asking more people to add support or add money to bounties to improve the Nintendo 64 emulator. The Nintendo 64 emulator is particularly bad. It, like, for the time that it came out, it has a lot of trouble running Nintendo 64 games. Particularly if you're trying to run it on a Raspberry Pi Model 3 or even a 3B, it's still performance is not optimized. It's probably, you could play a lot more Nintendo 64 games if you're playing it on a modern PC instead. But yeah, they're trying to fix that, whether you can add code or you can just add to the bounty, which is to say putting up money for bugs being fixed. Gamer Sutra has an article. Get a job. Capcom Vancouver is looking for a VFX artist. This job would be in Burnaby, British Columbia, Canada. We've got a game on Steam just called A Tractor, and it looks like it is literally just an asset flip in which you play and drive a tractor. It's free to play, so I guess the price is right, but I have no interest in it other than that, and since I'm trying to rush and finish everything here, I'm going to close that. There's kind of some important news that needs to be talked about. Do we have anything with a death rattle?
Job's done.
TechRaptor has an article. Player houses in Final Fantasy XIV are being demolished unexpectedly. Players are reporting that player-owned houses in Final Fantasy XIV are being demolished without warning. Multiple reports across multiple servers warrant a warning on both the Final Fantasy 15 Reddit page and a thread on the forums. Reporter GMs and players support are acknowledging the issues by fully reimbursing affected players, but they are currently unable to restore the lost houses. So it seems like there's a bug happening in Final Fantasy 14, which is the online Final Fantasy. What's terrifying for players in Final Fantasy 14 is that houses are being demolished just days after the owner's visits. Player houses in Final Fantasy 14 work on a timer. Don't visit your house for a set period of time and it's automatically reclaimed. If your house is reclaimed, you get 80% of the land fee back, as well as all of your furnishing. The timer is a generous 45 days, with a warning email sent out to 10 and 3 days before the scheduled demolition. So they have like a whole system here that is not being followed, probably by a bug somewhere in the programming. So yeah, take that for what it is. We've got a low effort puzzle game called Land of Puzzles Castles on Steam. It's 40% off for 59 cents. It has no achievements at all, and of course no trading cards or anything, so there's really no reason why you'd buy that game. State of Mind came out August 15th. It's an adventure indie action sci-fi cyberpunk game. It's been hyped. I call a lot of things overhyped, but I guess I should just say it's been hyped by the mainstream gaming media, so I'm not sure if it's a good game or not. It's from Daedalic Entertainment, the makers of the Deponia series, so they're going in a different way here. This looks like a 3D cyberpunk environment compared to most of their games being a 2D flat environment. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of a bait and switch here, and this is still mostly a point and click adventure game, just in a 3D environment with slightly low polygon 3D models walking around. It's almost an art style, but it is also almost really just a lack of polygons. Let's see. Kako Gumbo came on the chat. He says, "Hello Rydo, it's me again. How are you today, man? I'm doing pretty good. If you notice in the chat, somebody decided to raid me and they were here probably for only like 3 minutes. I'm doing pretty good. I am running late, however. I got onto a bunch of rants and now I'm paying for it because I'm trying to finish up all of the streaming. I'm about to get all the daily quests done and then I'm gonna wrap up in relatively soon here. Yeah, it says action. Yeah, it doesn't say anything or show anything like it's a point and click adventure game. So I guess I have to believe that it really is an action game from Daedalic Entertainment. So I'll keep an eye on State of Mind. Definitely. It's $29.99, so that might make it more difficult. You know, it definitely has that kind of feeling of something like Remember Me, which also was an action cyberpunk game, but it wasn't of great quality. Steam says State of Mind is like the Deus Ex Human Revolution Director's Cut. Metacritic gives it a 72. There's a not recommended review that has 0.9 hours on record. Says yet another case of doesn't do what it says on the tin. The trailer shows in an expansive world, all seemingly within your character's control, judging by the third-person view for most of the shots. Let's keep on playing. What the trailer doesn't show is that 90% of the game is spent in cutscenes waiting for people to talk to you or clicking on dialogue options that has almost no effects on the outcomes of the scene. You can only walk when prompted by the story, and when you do, only for maybe 30 seconds at a time before you're back in another 2-minute cutscene. Some levels, marked by save points, are entirely cutscenes with no interaction at all. The reality is, as a player, you almost have no control over this game. Pros, great art style. Cons, no button to skip cutscenes or dialogue, no manual save or load points, very little exploring or decision making, extremely linear. All in all, this is a disappointing game. It looks like it could be a beautiful cyberpunk game, but it's nothing more than a mechanically told visual novel at a really high price of $30. And see, that kind of was exactly what I thought it would be. Because I know Daedalic, and I know the games they've made before, but I totally see where this guy is coming from. That being said, I will keep an eye on it and see how the reviews go. Maybe I'll play State of Mind, maybe I won't. Let's see. Let's see. Gamma Sutra has an article. Fundamentally, we were building an MMO, designing the Walking Dead AR game. I don't think making a zombie game in augmented reality is the smartest move. And looking at some of the screenshots of this Walking Dead AR game, it doesn't look very good. When did this game come out? Must have been a while ago, certainly. I know that with the wrap up of the Telltale Walking Dead series, there's one other Walking Dead game that is on the horizon to come out, and that is kind of gonna be that. I wouldn't be surprised if the Walking Dead is just played out and done. It's been out for long enough, it's time to wrap it up. There's a game on Steam called Slider, a sliding puzzle game with a bunch of 2D flat anime girls on slider puzzles. Real cheap effort, as usual. 5% off for 94 cents. I've never seen 5% off. 100 Steam achievements. So a Steam achievement game. No interest in that. Let's see. We're looking for Death Rattle cards. So if we can get 2 in the first draw, then we can be guaranteed this is our last game, at least as far as daily quests require. There's 1 Death Rattle, and 8th turn. Let's see. Gamma Sutra has an article. Ready at Dawn shuts down Deformers servers. Developer Ready at Dawn, known for the Order 1886, has officially shut down Deformers servers over a year after launching the multiplayer brawling game. So yeah, I don't think anybody was playing Deformers. It looks like it's these round, ballish animal creatures that were fighting each other. The Order 1886 didn't really succeed and wasn't great either. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ready at Dawn is on its last legs, and in the month or so we hear a story about them getting acquired by somebody like Microsoft too, or just going bankrupt. The Order 1886 could have been something, but it just wasn't. It wasn't written well enough, it wasn't polished well enough. Let's see, we already talked about that. We don't need to talk about that again. Discover a card from your opponent's class. Let's see, Echo. And
Here
I guess
we
attack
go.
and play and then return. There's a game called Demonical, D-A-E-M-O-N-I-C-A-L. Early access. Seems like you play as a demon. With each of your 4 friends possibly being a bone-chilling demonic entity that will try to slaughter the rest of the group, who can you trust? So, apparently the person who is the demon sees themselves as a demon, but the others don't. well, you just see outside your own eyes, so you don't know, or the game tells you. This is Dead by Daylight, basically. It's just a asset flip copy of Dead by Daylight. It looks pretty, certainly, for the little screenshots that it's showing, but asset flips do look pretty now, so that means nothing. And they want $14.99 for it. Any asynchronous game is not going to catch my attention, though. It just really cannot. Yeah, I don't know how else to even say it. It's just, if it's multiplayer only like this game, I'm not gonna play it, generally speaking, but particularly if it's asynchronous multiplayer. Next game we have is Top Down Racer. I've seen the same concept done at least a dozen times in the past month. This doesn't look any better in the graphics department. It has 50 Steam achievements. It's free to play, so it seems like it's probably got some microtransactions so you can get the achievements or something, if I was to guess.
I don't need any of you.
And can we do that? And then return. TechRaptor has an article, a simple chat about with a simple machine about simple games. What is this about? Oh, this is more of the Play New York City convention that they went to. And so they're talking about a game that probably won't ever come to Steam or anywhere to play. So this is an article easy enough to skip. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article. Muse Game announces Hamster Beat 'em Up Hamsterdam for Switch, PS Vita, PC, and smartphones. Interesting concept. It's a Kickstarter campaign seeking $8,000 in funding, which seems like not enough money. Let's see. 2 damage to a minion. And
there once was a man from Gilneas.
And
Here we go.
For me!
Amsterdam Paws of Justice subtitle.
Too soon.
Let's see. Is there an actual release date on here? No, because it's a Kickstarter. Yeah, so this is not a game worth talking about yet. Let's see. In return, we have a game called EVEMNESIS. Evanescence, as best I can tell. It says it's an indie puzzle. For many years you've been an excellent worker in the system. You achieved countless relics and faced hundreds of meaningless challenges, but every explorer has his last mission. You're starting to realize that your final quest inside the cynical structure is near. This looks like just asset flips. Really? Just a walking simulator asset flips? You know what? At least walking simulators didn't become a consistent thing. This game has 35 achievements. It's $33.99. I kind of wish this was a good game because it's pretty, but it isn't. It's just an asset flip. So let's close that. Play this.
I hope you like my invention.
And play this.
To my web.
What if I was to do this and then play this and do this?
To my web.
Too soon.
Let me ask this question. If I return this to the field, it would still be 2, wouldn't it? Yeah. We got a game on Steam called Graveyard Keeper. This one I think has already been reviewed by some mainstream people. It's rated very positive, 80% of 116 user reviews in the past 30 days. Came out August 15th. You can definitely see there's a difference between games that get some coverage and games that don't. Graveyard Keeper looks like it's a Stardew Valley-esque game, except for you're running a graveyard. It looks like there might be some RPG elements in which you improve your graveyard. Unfortunately, I still really didn't like Stardew Valley, and I don't see anything different here that would make me want to play Graveyard Keeper. So, while this might be an interesting game for other people, it's $19.99 right now. If you love Stardew Valley, maybe, but for me, I'm just gonna say no. Like, I've got to learn personally some lessons about, like, hey, if you hated this game, why don't you not play the sequel? And not feel bad about not playing the sequel either. Because that kind of stuff needs to stop. Like, that's not helpful to anybody. To just feel bad because you're not enjoying the things other people enjoy. We have a game called The Legend of Protea. It looks kind of like it might be an old NES game. It says it came out November 5th, 2007. And so why am I looking at it now? Oh, this looks like an old Legend of Zelda game. But it has no user reviews. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna keep an eye on this. Maybe. I'm noticing a misspelling in the features. They forgot to put a space. Typo. I'll keep an eye on this game because more than likely, since it's a year old, it's just gonna get ignored anyways.
I got the best deals anywhere.
Too soon.
Play this.
Here we go.
Your game has an article. Tomb Raider Legend and Tomb Raider Anniversary are now backwards compatible for the Xbox One. Okay, that's great for them. Good timing because the new Tomb Raider game is coming out. Here's an RPG game that's Chinese only, I would imagine. Yep, English, full audio it says, and simplified Chinese. But then it says, as I scroll down, English language not supported, so I have no idea what they're doing here. So this might be a game that is the Chinese version of the game getting released on Steam. And this might explain why we've seen so many games coming out on Steam lately, is because if Tencent's not getting any licenses to be on Wiimo or Wii Game, yeah, that's it, what it's called, Wii Game, then they've got to try and make some money somewhere, and one of the places they could do that is selling on Steam and having the people who are VPNing out of the Great Firewall of China so that they're not being blocked from Steam can purchase it there. Yeah, but this Chinese game is a Chinese name, so I can't say anything about it really. PC Gamer has an article, Why the Battle for Azeroth is Happening, a quick World of Warcraft lore primer. I don't think I care enough at all. Azeroth apparently is both a creature and the planet that they live, that World of Warcraft happens on. Some kind of like god-like creature, I guess would be the idea there. Destroy an enemy minion and return an enemy minion and
like my invention?
This. And then this.
I hope you like my invention.
And then played that.
Job done.
Gamer Sutra has an article. Visual novel Sekai Project lays off its staff. The visual novel publisher Sekai Project has laid off an undisclosed portion of the staff as a result of the company has now described as a necessary restructuring effort. Let's see. A lot of people seem to have gotten laid off and not just low-level people also. The Sekai Project is claiming that their visual novels that have been kickstarted or funded or are in production aren't going to be they're saying their games and projects are not going to be affected. Ling goes on to note that some Sekai Project in development titles may be delayed as we try to streamline our process, but nothing has been outright cancelled. So yeah, Sekai Project is kind of known as a visual novel publisher on Steam. I recognize the name. They've done a couple of things. I am still freaking looking for one more Death Rattle card. This is the worst deck for Death Rattle apparently. Let's go back to Odd Paladin. I think I was playing more Death Rattle cards there. Your Game has an article. The Nintendo Switch is getting a Joy-Con fishing rod with an old Wii game attached. Bass Pro shops the Strike Championship Edition apparently for the Switch. I kind of thought that maybe they would stop doing that. Well, stop having the ridiculous tie-in things. I thought they kind of stopped after the Wii. ESRB has rated Gianna Sisters Twisted Dream Direct Owl's Cut. That's the word direct, then OWL squished at the end for the Nintendo Switch. So yes, you can expect that to happen.
Welcome to Oblivion!
There's a YouTube video for Kingdom, the complete story of Kingdom's Hearts. Let's get ready for Kingdom's Heart 3, which that YouTube video in itself is 37 minutes and 58 seconds, which is way too long, and I just am not going to play Kingdom Hearts. Let's see. PC Gamer has an article. The Sunless Sea writer and Blackwell developer have teamed up for the urban vampire RPG Nighthawks. I think we've already seen this announcement though, so it feels like they are rather late to the party. Rather late to the party. This new trailer for Nighthawks is really bloody because they're vampires. It's intriguing little teaser trailer that doesn't show any of the actual game. The actual game probably being a very simplistic RPG game, more like a visual novel than a real RPG. Yeah, every screenshot of the actual game is flat 2D animations. The animations aren't bad, but it's not hyper realistic graphics like the teaser trailer was showing. The teaser trailer was real people, I'm sure. We have a game on Steam called Tiger Fighter 1931. It's a flying around shooting game. Actually, it's not even that much. I barely even want to call it a game. It's just like a blue screen with some sprites on screen flying around and you're shooting it. It looks like a less than half a year student's project, first year programmer student project. Just like unfinished, unacceptable. It's 99 cents with no discount, but I wouldn't recommend anybody play it at all. Here we have a adventure, indie, casual, sexual content, I assume visual novel? Yes, visual novel called Stepsisters Episode 1. The graphics don't look good, and the pictures in the background are actually photos, so I imagine this is a scam game, very low effort game. It's 30% off for $1.39. I would never recommend buying anything episode 1. The developer who's made this has nothing that they've published has ever been above mixed reviews. For reference. And
to battle.
Let's go and kill this.
To battle. To battle.
Do that in the turn. And close that. TechRaptor has a review for a game called My Little Scythe, The Best Welcome. Looks like a bunch of little animals. But then it also looks like it's a top-down hex grid game. Let's see. With card elements. I have no idea what this game is. I also don't think this is a video game. I think this is an actual real-world game now that I look at the pictures. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't cover real-world games. They gave it a 9.0 amazing. If they... But, yeah, it's not a video game, so I don't care. Moving on. Chasing people.
Mushroom
But,
the battle. Mushroom. The battle.
let's see. We already talked about that. PC Gamer has an article. The King's Bird is a lovely platformer that combines jumping and gliding in a secret world. Is this the game that I saw earlier? Maybe, maybe not. It looks like a Super Meat Boy-esque game. Way too many of them. Seems like you're jumping and flying and maybe not crashing and dying and getting killed as much as most Super Meat Boy clone games are, so that's at least something to be happy about.
For justice.
Although I still don't think I'd want to play a game like this. This feels like it would be just a finger killer. King's Bird comes out August 23rd, will be priced $20, so this is really just an advertisement. Assume it's coming out for PC, but PC Gamer is not even saying if it's coming out for any other consoles.
But your world is still doomed!
We have a mixed review, 60% positive game called Vroom Kaboom. It looks like it probably is a racing asset flip game. Hey, and we made it to rank 20. Let's ride that victory for one more game as we're wrapping up here, and then we'll be done. Yeah, Vroom Kaboom, free to play, and still 60%, so you could certainly check it out. VROOM space KABOOM.
For Doomhammer, I will fight.
Let's see,
with
we
honor.
have Caves of Plague on Steam from Fury Games Production, which I've seen that company before. It says it's a action casual strategy RPG. It looks like it's a pretty low effort RPG at that. It seems like it's like a clicker game where you're just clicking to attack and swing your sword. Looks really, really bad. Let me look at what else they've made. Parkour Man. Yeah, I recognize the name because they've made a bunch of terrible games like Bitcoin Mining Tycoon. The one game that's even gotten reviews is negatively reviewed. Yeah, they got a nice logo. I will say Fury Games Production does have a nice logo. They do try to make the games look cool. Caves of Plague is 10% off for $1.79. I could see some people falling for that if you didn't do a little bit of research there. Next game we have is called Drill Mania, and it's from Fury Games Production. So yeah, another low effort game. Not terribly low effort games. These games do look sort of good. If this was a Windows 95 game, I wouldn't complain about the way it looked or probably played, but it's not. It's a brand new game, and clearly they're trying to flood the Steam marketplace with
Converting stored energy.
like low quality things. Drill Mania is 10% off for $1.79 also. Next game we have on Steam is called In the Countryside from Fury Games Productions. And this is more of a 3D game. It looks like it's a kind of cooking game in 3D where you're making food and delivering it. So kind of like a first-person perspective of Overcooked without all the fun of Overcooked and the silliness of Overcooked.
Job's done.
Yeah, I'm still very much opposed to playing games that have you do a job. There's 5 achievements in each of these games, so maybe this is one of those series of games designed to let you just get all the achievements and say you have 100%ed them. In the Countryside is 10% off for $2.69. Again, just flooding the marketplace. No reason to do that. And no reason really for Steam to allow you to release multiple games in a month. I think there should be a 4-week cooldown between every developer releasing a game. Maybe you could then start to lower the requirements a little bit on well, look at this. This is going to be amazing. You could lower the requirements a little bit on publishers you really know and you really trust. But that's kind of it. And I think we already talked about Death's Gambit. It's, again, mostly positive. 70% of 401 user reviews came on August 13th. It's a Metroidvania Dark Fantasy 2D Souls-like RPG hack and slash game. I'm going to keep an eye on it. It's $19.99. And then that brings me to the Humble Monthly Bundle, which I do believe we actually have a Humble Bundle of worth and note to talk about. And no, it's not the Torchwood Doctor Who audio bundle. It is the Jackbox Party Pack. And I know someone, one of my fans, gifted me one of the Jackbox games. And inherently, I want to own the Jackbox games, but I'm probably not going to be able to play them with anybody ever.
Winter is
So, like, I'd love to have them, and I'd love to try doing a stream at some point if it's a real slow day to say, hey, everybody online, when there is a lot of people online, let's do this. But right now, there very rarely is anybody online enough to justify playing it or trying to play it, and you need at least a couple people who are willing to commit and play multiple games. Do I want to kill this or do that? Let's do that.
Job's done.
So the Jackbox bundle, pay what you want, gets you Quiplash, Fibbage XL, the Jackbox Volume 1 XL, and Jackbox, Quiplash, Fibbage XL, You Don't Know Jack Volume 1 XL, and You Don't Know Jack Volume 2, and I don't think I own those. If you pay above the average of $10.21, you get the Jackbox Party Pack, which I don't own, the Jackbox Party Pack 2, which I think I may own. That might be the one that was gifted to me. You'd have to friend me and know. You Don't Know Jack Volume 3 and You Don't Know Jack Volume 4 The Ride, which I don't own. I can play the You Don't Know Jack parts, I think, in single player. But the party packs are the problem. If you pay $12 or more, you get Jackbox Party Pack 3. I think there's a Jackbox Party Pack 4 that's not being included. And you get Drawful too. So if anybody wants to buy those and has some duplicates or just wants to gift them to me, that would help fill in a small gap that has arisen. Let's see.
For justice.
We hit this.
Fight.
And we do this. And am I ready to do this?
I must move quickly.
Oh man, I played a little out of order there.
The battle.
Do this.
The battle.
This. And do that.
The battle.
And that. And then that leaves us just at Twitter. And I'm certainly not going to really scroll down my Twitter and see what happens here. I'm gonna look at all the new people that just rated and decide to subscribe and look at their channels and see what they're doing.
Get down.
That certainly would be slightly interesting. This will be our last game. We went an hour. We went an hour over. Not a big deal, but yeah, something I guess to know. This.
I fight.
This,
For justice.
That.
Reporting for duty.
Pretty good Wednesday, I would say. I guess keep the raids coming. No reason to say no. My chat is so dead anytime anyway, so that's fine by me. I've certainly seen other people like try to do raids and try to be friendly and helpful by doing raids. And
for justice.
Yeah, so I'm familiar with it.
Reporting for duty.
But also, I'm not gonna freak out about it and think, oh, this is my big break and this is where I'm gonna be a YouTube millionaire overnight. And it's like, no, not really. I doubt that happens. It'd be nice if it happened, certainly, but wouldn't really change too much. Just keep on doing what I love doing more than anything else, really. It's better than flipping burgers at McDonald's to stream on YouTube. Yeah. Ah, man. This Twitter feed, by the way, is nothing new. I started late, so I guess it isn't surprising that there is no real new news. I have a decent amount of games I'm going to put on my wish list, too, just to keep an eye on. Some of which are actually worth wish listing. And I guess we could look at my Twitch stream and see if let's see, we're upgrading the highlighter. The highlighter is now more precise and will start and end with start and end points. Okay, so great. Now I can make highlights from my videos. Great. There's Twitch Loot Prime. Apparently Warframe in-game loot. We'll claim it. Might as well claim everything. Use Jeff Bezos' money if you can. Views on Twitch. Still, Twitch is really just my backup, so no surprise that most of the videos have no views at all. Yeah. Streaming down here, it's like, yeah, one view on one Hearthstone stream, and that's it. Everything else, no views. Fine. Fair enough. That's going to be it for this stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, I'm asking people to friend me on Steam and give me a game or a gift card. Or if you get a code from like the Humble Bundle for the You Don't Know Jack games and such, you can just send those codes to me through Twitter direct message. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.